Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Today, we have with us two representatives from Mauldin and Jenkins. We're very excited to have them here, both from Atlanta, right? Okay, Melanie Vu, Marion Vu, and Abby Chester.
Yep.
Okay, and so I'll let them get started, okay?
Okay, well, hey everyone. I'm Abby. I've been with Mauldin Jenkins about almost 3 years. I started as an auditor and then switched over to recruiting and HR. So now I'm a campus recruiter.
Hey everyone, I'm Marion. I started with Mauldin Jenkins in the beginning of September, so I'm very new, and I'm a campus recruiter as well.
Yep. So I don't know if you want to see my screen. We have a presentation that we usually show, but we're just gonna kind of tell it to you guys now. But we have 13 different office locations. We have offices in Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, Florida, and South Carolina. We have about probably over 400 employees firm-wide. We serve 16 different industries, and we specialize in audit, tax, and advisory. Advisory is probably our smallest area, but it's definitely growing every single year. Some perks about working at M&J is we'll pay for your CPA, or if you start with us, we'll reimburse you for it if you've already taken it. And we also have unlimited PTO, which is a really nice perk.
I can talk about this. Okay, so like Abby said, at Mauldin Jenkins, we have unlimited PTO, and that's because we want to prioritize like everyone's personal life and like work-life balance. So that's like a perk that we added recently. And another thing that we like to do to bring up morale is to do like social events with like the whole firm. So recently we did a punch bowl social event in the Battery with our interns. And then something else that we did was the Braves game. That's super fun. And that's like open to anyone. That's not just like the Atlanta office. Like if you're from the Albany office, of course you can come up. We've had like Chattanooga associates come as well. And then what we're looking for in associates or just anyone to work at Mauldin Jenkins is just like, people with a positive attitude, people with like an open mind and willingness to learn. When it comes to like our associates at Mauldin Jenkins, we understand that you won't come in knowing everything. So we'll teach you everything you need to know. And for our interns, the basics that you need in order to be an intern is to take Intermediate Accounting 1. So if you've already taken that class, like that's perfect. That's the baseline requirement you need in order to intern with us, because it really lays like the foundation that you need in order to do the job. And as far as like the biggest challenge that you will face as an associate or an intern is probably learning the software, but everyone starts right there. So we don't expect you coming in knowing anything about it. And then as far as our people, we want y'all to just, like I said, like be willing to learn, because the software can be a challenge. And yeah, like it's a really work-friendly environment. We like to market ourselves as like a family, just because our offices are smaller outside of Atlanta. So it's easier to get to know everyone. Even within Atlanta, there's 100 people there, but it doesn't feel that way at all. Okay, and then we've been working on our diversity initiative. So we want everyone to feel like they're included at our office, and everyone's like, differences and uniqueness is appreciated, as well as celebrated in our office. A DEI event that we're having soon is the Falcons game. So I'm excited for that because I'll be going to that. Something else is that we have our Women's Alliance. So this like really helps with the women in our office have like mentorship, networking opportunities, as well as just like, learning from the partners within the firm. We have a conference for the Women's Alliance, and even though like the industry is dominated by males, that's not the case at our firm. We have a pretty even split.
Yep. We also have a buddy mentor program. So when you start, you'll be paired with a buddy and it'll kind of be like a familiar face, someone you can ask questions with, maybe go to lunch with. And you also get a stipend to do like a fun activity outside of work with. People have gone axe throwing, people have gone hiking, done different things like that. She mentioned training briefly. I'm actually kind of heading up the training. We're kind of revamping training. So by the time you guys could start, training could be, hopefully it'll be really, really good. It's already good, but we're just trying to work out some different things with the software and just make sure that we hit all different types of learning because everyone has different learning styles. So we're trying to make it less of a lecture format when you start and more interactive and stuff that you can reference and just give you a lot of resources. And then she mentioned some involvement, but there are a ton of ways to get involved at Mauldin and Jenkins. So we have a social committee, we have a community service committee, and we do lots of activities, probably at least one a quarter for each. And some of the community service that we've done is Meals on Wheels, Boys and Girls Club, and then social events like she mentioned would be Braves games. We've gone to the Painted Duck in Atlanta, and we're mentioning a lot of Atlanta because that's obviously where we're from, but other offices, they do things as well. So.
Okay, and then I'll talk about Envision. I know some of y'all have already attended, so that's super great. It is a all expenses paid event, and it takes place 2 days in Atlanta at the Omni Hotel. It's a really nice hotel and it's located in the Battery right next to our office. So you get to know like the area if you're interested in working in Atlanta. But it's just like a great way for you to get to know the people within the firm and get to know like-minded students, as well as like students with like same aspirations. It's also a great opportunity to meet associates and partners at our firm, like across all of our offices, because they'll all be there. And it's just a great way to see if you would be a good fit for the firm. More so like if you like the culture of our firm, and not so much for us to like scout you, but for you to see if we're a good fit for you.
Yep. And right now, we're still looking for interns and full-time associates. So if anyone's interested in, firm and possibly, intern with us or even a full-time job, if you're graduating soon, then please, come meet me. We'll give you our cards and we'll stay in touch. So does anyone have any questions about anything?
Can I ask you how you found out about M&J?
Well, we have a Mauldin and Jenkins classroom.
Yeah. Yeah. I saw the photo and the ribbon cutting. That's pretty exciting.
But Doug, a partner in Atlanta, he came through the drive-thru when I worked at Chick-fil-A and I took his order and I recognized his face.
Whoa. So did you see him at Chick-fil-A and then you said, I saw you on the wall?
Basically.
That is so funny.
That is so funny, yeah.
We love Doug. Doug is great. He'll be going to the Falcons game too. So who else is working with Mauldin Jenkins? I remember.
So Cade and Landon, these guys right here, Cade and then Landon in the blue stripes did the summer leadership last
Okay,
summer.
how did y'all like that?
This was awesome.
It was fun, right? I mean, I haven't been, but I've seen videos.
What else did y'all do? What else did they, it was a couple of days, right?
Yeah, there was a scavenger hunt through the whole Battery. Then they had a Q&A basically, where different departments, I guess you could say, came and talked with different partners, and they spoke on basically how they all were different. Then we had dinner. And you sat with different partners and
Yeah, I
I guess
thought
other workers.
that seating arrangement was really nice, where they were able to sit you with like actual partners,
Yeah.
and then also the people that were there and just kind of talk amongst each other.
So
That was
did
a lot
y'all
of fun.
sit with the Albany office?
I believe I did. I don't
Okay.
remember who landed. So.
Yeah, so they're talking about our dinner that happens where you have to choose like the office of your preference, and then you get to eat dinner with them. So that's really nice because it's like an intimate setting where you get to know the partners more.
Yeah, but I will say, even at M&J, since we are mid-size, you do get a lot of partner interaction, like obviously at summer leadership when they're like trying to get to know you, but also like in the office every day. A lot of every partner has an open door policy. So you can really build relationships with, the people at the top, which is really nice. And something that I like about working at M&J.
Where are your offices located? I've got tons of questions. So
Yeah.
if they're not gonna ask them, I will.
Yeah.
You mentioned Albany, you mentioned Atlanta. So can you tell them where all you're located, kind of near, where in Georgia are you located? Where are your offices?
Macon, Savannah, Albany, Atlanta. Florida is in Bradenton and Sarasota. In Alabama, we have Birmingham, Huntsville, Athens, Florence. South Carolina, we have Columbia, and Tennessee, we have Chattanooga. Did I miss any?
Mm-mm.
I think that's it.
Yeah.
So they could work at potentially,
any
Yeah,
of those
if that,
locations.
they're from there or it sounds good, they just really want to live in Chattanooga.
Yeah.
Have a, desire to live there, then that's kind of locations. And then, do you ever do any, remote internships or part-time internships?
It's a case by case basis. Obviously we feel like you learn the best in person, at least for an internship. So a lot of our internships are in person. Obviously we'd probably desire for you to have a full-time internship, but we get like some people don't want to take off full semesters to do internships. So sometimes there's part-time, sometimes there's remote, but it's like for very
Special cases.
Yeah, special cases. I wouldn't say that's the norm. But after you start working, there is like more of a hybrid work schedule after your internship, and after you've kind of learned the softwares and things like that. So there's some flexibility in that, after you've been there.
No, I was just gonna ask, what type of software where are you referring to?
Oh yeah, so softwares that we use, it's just auditing and just like tax softwares. So
Okay.
the software we use is Engagement for audit. For tax, we use Access Tax. And then there's a lot of different softwares that you have to learn. So there's an amortization T-Val, there's a state val, we have about 40 softwares that we
Okay.
use. But I mean, you're not learning it all at once. It's kind of as you go. Like you're obviously, if you're an auditor, you're going to start with engagement and, work through that. And you're going to, start doing sections of the audit and you'll get to a section, you'll be like, oh, I need to learn this software to complete this new section and things like that. That's kind of how the day-to-day is set up. And you'll get more responsibility as you go, just like you'll learn the softwares as you go.
You mentioned about that you'd like your interns to have at least intermediate 1. What kind of grades are you looking for your internship hires? Like what kind of grades do they need to be trying to get a good internship and a good job?
I got that. So at least like a 3.0, but
Yeah.
we understand that, situations happen. So as long as you explain to us like why you may have lower than a 3.0, then we would move forward from there.
In all the classes, that's overall 3.0.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, preferably if you're not failing intermediate 1,
Yeah, I would say like I probably look at like your accounting grade more than your other grades.
Overall grades.
Yeah, we'd probably want your accounting GPA. Even if you're like, you failed chemistry or something. If your accounting's like good, then that's really, I feel like, what we care about.
Is that all?
Yeah, no, that's it. Yeah. I'm sure that y'all have questions too. What else?
Y'all can ask us anything. CPA stuff, you can ask us like,
Do they pay
Today.
for, do they use Becker or Roger or CPA review stuff?
Yeah, you
That's
can
been a question. We've talked about a reason to go to a more structured firm is that a lot of times you'll have programs for structured ways to help you pass the CPA exam.
yeah, so we'll pay for all your CPA exam stuff and we'll pay for each exam one time each. And you can kind of pick whichever exam study course you want. So you can do Becker, Wiley, any of them. Yeah, we'll cover up to $2,500 and usually they're like right under that. So
I guess it'd be good to tell y'all the day-to-day.
I was just curious, like, as a potential worker studying with the CPA exam, how good would you say is that balance between having to complete your work and focusing on the exam?
that this is gonna be my advice. If you can take the exam before you start working, do whatever you can, even if you finish school and have 2 months before you start working, because sometimes we have people graduate in May and they don't start till July. Take a portion of the exam. I will say though, I feel like at M&J we have a really good work-life balance. We don't work crazy hours that I know some of the public accounting firms, the stigma around that is. I was an auditor. I made it all the way up to senior associate, and even during busy season, you know, I was probably working like max 55-hour weeks, billable weeks. So, I mean, you have to like find a balance, and you're definitely gonna have to study on the weekends and probably put your social life on hold for a few months, but it'll definitely be worth it because you're gonna have like so many doors open to you. You're gonna have unlimited possibilities if you do get your CPA. So definitely get your CPA.
So you did audit. Can you talk a little bit about the difference between audit and tax, pros, cons?
Yeah.
How is that decision made? Like, so do they choose themselves, or is it more of like, what does the firm need? Can you talk a little bit about the differences between those two?
Yes. So audit is better than tax. I'm just kidding. But I liked audit a lot more than tax, but that was just like my personal preference. Differences, I would say, in audit, you kind of work more as a team. You're not necessarily working on, well, you're working on one audit, but you're each completing different sections of it. So you're not necessarily working on the same thing, but you kind of are. And you're, you know, collaborating with people more. Tax, you're kind of working individually after you get trained. You're working on, you know, a corporate return, or you're working on an individual return. I mean, they both have busy seasons. So audit, you might be busy in the fall. Tax, you're obviously going to be busy in the spring. And then people who file for extension, you're going to have to do that again. So you can't avoid a busy season. Audit's kind of a little more steady than tax, I would say, because tax, you're going to be super busy from January to April, and then, you know, not as busy. Audit, even during busy season, you're still, I don't know. I didn't think it was that bad in either side. I enjoyed audit a lot. I did tax for a little bit. And you also get to choose at M&J. So we have a program called a 360 program. And basically, they bring you in and they let you see both audit and tax. And you kind of get to decide from there what you like. So you get that hands-on experience before you have to make your final decision. You don't have to come in knowing if you want to do audit or tax.
I have a question. How many people do you pick for your internship?
It's office by office. So Albany, we probably do 2 per certain semesters. So obviously fall and spring are our busiest semesters. So that's probably when we are looking for interns there. In Atlanta, we're taking 4 in the spring, 10 in the summer, 4 in the fall. So it just really depends on the office location, how many that we take.
I know you were about to touch on a day-to-day schedule, or like a day-to-day, like what a day-to-day life looks like as either an intern or like a full-time worker.
Yeah, so day-to-day is just, like I said, if you're on audit, you're just going to be working on an audit. So you'll probably be given a section of the audit to complete. Usually with interns and new hires, we start you off with cash, and then you might do accounts payable. Those are kind of like the more straightforward sections of the audit. And then you'll kind of work your way up through it. And eventually you'll be doing financial statements, which are really fun. Let's see what else. And in audit, you'll work in a team, and usually you might go to the client sometimes, but since COVID, a lot of times we will work in office or, you know, remote from home. It just kind of depends. And tax, I can't really speak on tax besides input numbers into the tax software, like filling out a return. That's really all I know about tax.
How many weeks of tax did you do?
Oh, 2. So I wasn't really tax
Just 2
club.
weeks
Yeah.
the whole time?
Yeah. So I did in my internship, I said I wanted to start off an audit, and I did it. And I was like, there's a little part of me, I just want to see tax. So I did tax. I can't even remember what the form is called. I did the business returns. I like those because you have to make them balance, kind of like a balance sheet. But yeah, I did it for 2 weeks, and I was like, I think I know what I like. I think I'm going to stick to audit. So I went back to audit.
Yeah. How many partners do you have in like the Atlanta office, and what does it take to work your way up to a partner level?
So we have 50 partners total, 50 plus partners total. Atlanta, we probably have like 20 something.
I have no idea.
I can name them all for you, but I'll spare you that. And then, yeah, so public accounting, something that I really like about it is you're constantly moving up, you know, as long as you're doing your job. and you get your CPA. So you'll come in, you'll be an intern for 4 months, then you'll be an associate for 2 years, and you'll be a senior associate for about 2 or 3 years, and it's just continual moving up. Then you'll go manager, senior manager, director, partner. So that's kind of like the levels. Some people make partner in 10 years, some people make it in 12 years, just depends on, you know, the need and stuff. And we have 2 levels of partners. So we have income partners and equity partners. So you start off as an income partner, and then, you know, you'll do that for a few years and you can make equity partner.
Okay, well, thank y'all for the presentation, and some folks are going to stay around and bring you resumes during the next hour or 2. And like I said, we'll have the online folks watch the videos.
Okay.
So appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank